I don't know Rockefeller or Jay-Z, none of these guys have anything against him.
Do you like Jay-Z's music?
I mean, I think Jay-Z is, he does what he do what he do.
Right.
But, I mean, which is some good stuff, you know. But.
Doesn't sound like you like him too much.
I mean, it's not the point. I actually was.
Have you ever met him?
I never met him. The only thing I knew about Jay-Z that he came to L.A. a few times, and Dre and Snoop and Dre told him that when you're on the West Coast, you wrote a song for me, don't worry about nothing. Next thing I know, he was taped up, robbed, and gagged. But
who, Jay?
Yeah, Jay.
Out in L.A.
Out in L.A. But you know,
who was responsible for that?
Who knows? But you know the thing about it, I think Jay-Z's a great guy because he's created what he do. And I do like Jay-Z, honestly. I've never met him.
But if these rivalries and these bad things exist as...
Do you remember Carson Daly? Do you remember Carson Daly? Man, 2000, the night, it was a beautiful time. Suge Knight truly was terrifying. Okay? He was a intimidating dude with the gang and the all red in the air where, you know, the entertainers were actually killing each other on site for real. When Suge Knight makes a comment like that, Jay-Z being tied up, you kind of believe it. Then, I'm thinking now. Would you, knowing what you know about Suge Knight, would you believe this story about Jay getting tied up when he went out to LA?
If we're talking back then, yeah, I believe that happened when he actually said it.
Happened?
I believe that actually happened when he said it 100%. 100%.
Why?
100%. Because the East Coast, West Coast thing was real. Not for the people in the industry, but people outside who believe that shit. That East Coast, West Coast shit was for real. If you were not from that side and you traveled across coast and you didn't check in with the right people at a certain time, there was a problem for every single artist. You had to do it. So do I believe that Jay-Z, it's possible for him to go to LA, get caught up in the wrong area, get caught up by a gang and get tied up, and then somebody has to come bail him out? Maybe Dre, maybe Snoop, maybe those were the guys that did it. Maybe that's why they got named in the story. I do believe it.
I don't think that it couldn't happen. I'm questioning if it happened. Now, keep this in mind for a second. Let's put this all into perspective. Biggie Smalls, again, East Coast RIP. He went to the West Coast to do a show. Right. The venue was empty. He got set up, allegedly, but this is, I mean, E40 told a story, by E40. He booked Biggie for a show, and it was fake just to set him up. And E40 and they could have put it on him.
Right.
So if that happened, which I believe it did, it's not that far-fetched for the Jay-Z story.
At that time.
Especially at the time. I just think the messenger, though, like the messenger to me lacks the credibility.
Remember what the climate was. Remember what the climate was at that time. Who was running? Death Row was literally running the entire West Coast.
We would have heard something about that.
No.
I think so.
Absolutely.
I think
Jay-Z would have been able to do 0 shows on any of the West Coast states if he said anything to anybody. And then he would have had to hire extra security, which at that time, rappers aren't getting paid what they were getting paid right now. So hiring 50 militant trained army veterans for your security, like Jay probably has now, Secret Service agents, wouldn't have been possible for him back then, and the label wasn't going to do it. So
you just don't
Jay, the smart move would have been to just shut the fuck up, because nobody who on the West Coast at that time is going against Death Row. Suge Knight was one of the most feared men at that time, bro.
Yeah,
you got to remember, we lived through it.
100%, of course.
We lived through it, and we've seen the documentaries on TV, which are just reenactments, and the reenactments are violent as fuck, and it was probably worse when he actually did it.
Listen, I need more people to corroborate this story. People with credibility to be like, yeah, that happened. Just Suge saying it.
I feel like Snoop Dogg dipping. I feel like Dre dipping. I feel like Tupac dipping. I feel like all of them leaving, and them seeing this documentary, them living through it, and them never coming out and saying, oh man, it wasn't really that serious. None of them have ever said that. And then we see the actions that Suge Knight has done since then, running over a man, and all the
That
other
was
things that he's been
allegedly
out there saying.
self-defense, but
Whatever, it doesn't matter. It happened. You know, that his mentality, we've seen his mentality with things, is what I'm saying. It's not also not too far-fetched to believe that the violence that he portrayed or was portrayed, given to us, was real,
look,
and that he was living that life.
the only reason why I stay with the we would have heard something by now is because there is a story of Jay-Z getting chased around by I think it's Fat Joe and Pun, or one of the members of Terror Squad. And
Okay.
Cuban Links has been on Vlad TV, other platforms, telling this story. Every time they ask Fat Joe, no comment. But
Right.
members have spoke to this story, right? So I say all that again to say this happened a long time. This happened in the 90s. And somehow, some way, that story came out. And this happened in New York.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why this wouldn't have come out. And Jay-Z don't live in LA. Jay-Z lives in New York, and this story still came out. So why wouldn't this come out when this happened?
Well, listen, I told you
Coast?
what I think. I told you what I think. If it was me and I was Jay-Z, that's the opinion I'm giving you. I'm trying to perform on the West Coast. I don't want no problems. I don't want to hire extra security. I don't want all those extra issues. I'm gonna just let the story ride. Jay-Z, on top of it, well, he used to do more interviews, but he's the type of person who doesn't even respond to things. But I have seen him respond when necessary, when he feels it's necessary.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
He ain't gonna respond to this. No way.
Because he doesn't feel like it's necessary. If it feels like it's going to hurt him negatively, he's going to shut the fuck up. So I have to feel like there was something that he saw in this, or his team or his crew or somebody talked to him and said, listen, don't say nothing. We don't need those issues. All right, let's just move on. Let's do our thing. Let's get home.
And the other thing is, why would he say anything? I mean, if they were vocal about it back then, even the alleged Terror Squad incident, if they were speaking to it back then, he may have said something back then. Mind state is different. This is like, what, 20 years ago? But the guy's a billionaire now. He's 100% not going to respond to anything that has to do with alleged violence towards him. It's pointless. Yeah. I just think it didn't happen. I can see how you think it did happen, though. Like, for sure, I can see how you would think that. But I don't know. Viewing public, more importantly, what do you think? Do you think Hova got hogtied by Suge Knight and his cronies? Was Dr. Dre making beats I'm doing bad analogies here, but the point is do you think it happened? Yes or no? Leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click one of those little icon thingies.